Hey friends, this is Heather. Thank you for joining me today on my channel. I have another layout for My Creative Scrapbook using the April-May kit. I'm showing you there the photo that I'm working with. It is of my father, and he and my mother visited a sunflower garden field. Not sure what you would call it. It's a local place here, and during the summer it has fields and fields of sunflowers. I haven't yet to see it in person, but hope to soon. But knew that I wanted to scrap this photo, but to be honest, I found it difficult because it is of my dad and it is about flowers, and I didn't want to make it, I don't know, too feminine. I ended up obviously putting a lot of flowers on it, but I thought the black background balanced it out a little bit, just in my opinion anyway. I fussy cut the two large floral clusters that you see there from one of the pattern papers from the Floral Market collection from Cartabella. They were placed at opposite corners on a piece of cream cardstock, and I could have used that as my background, but I wanted a little bit more contrast. So, and I don't actually end up using both of them. And anyone who knows me or has been following me, I am not a huge fan of fussy cutting. It is tedious, and I know a lot of people enjoy doing it just because it's sort of mindless. You don't have to think, you just start cutting. And I will fussy cut, but an image like this, I almost cut into the paper, and then I had this very brief panic, like, what did I just do? I just cut into this 12 by 12 sheet of paper, and now I have to actually follow through and cut this out. So, I'm trying to reprogram myself a little bit and just make decisions. Sometimes I spend way too much time thinking about how to put a layout together. And when you get kits, anyone who gets kits on a regular basis knows that once you get them, you want to put everything out. You want to use it all. And I tend to plan out my layouts as a design team member before I do anything. Because I have this fear of like running out of product and running out of paper, and which is silly because there's so much included, but I didn't do that this time. I just sort of went in and did it. So, but I'm happy with the way that this turned out. So maybe I should tell you a little bit about what I'm doing. I mean, it's a little bit self-explanatory. But I did not add gesso to this, piece of black checkered cardstock. I did want to add some color to the background because, I didn't want it to be solid black, and I wanted the photo and the flowers to pop up a little bit. And that chipboard piece came with a kit. It's from Scrap FX, and it is bare chipboard, and I will color it a little later on in the video. But I really wanted there to be something on the background to help all of that pop up off that black. And so I'm adding white gesso. I started out with one brand that I have from Dina Wankley, and it kind of has like a grayish blue hint to it on some papers. So then I switched over to the white gesso that I have from, the brand name is, it has slipped my mind. So I'm not adding it to all of the background. Obviously, I'm just sort of haphazardly adding it to where my photo will be. Okay, so the other brand of gesso is from Golden, and it's still white gesso, but it has a different hue to it, if that makes sense. It's a little bit more pure white, excuse me, and against the black background, I just thought it looked better. So right now I am adding some yellow from Prima Marketing. It is one of their color blooms mists. It's called Sunshine, and it is sparkly and pretty, and I love the way it looks. However, I did discover when I added my splatters, they turned into this like shimmery gray color. The yellow disappeared. And I may not have ever used the color blooms on dark cardstock before, but now, lesson learned, they won't show up. They'll just sort of turn into this shimmery silver or gray color and the yellow will be gone. So I pulled out my trusty handy Hattie Swap Color Shine in butter, and that definitely did the trick. I used that for some splatters and it shows up like butter. Okay, that was bad. So right now I am adding lots of little foam pieces, adhesive foam. I get the sheets from Michael's or Walmart, and I cut that up. And I do still have foam dots, which I use. Like I use them on the butterflies that you can see there. But foam adhesive, the sheets that you get, that craft foam, it is a lot cheaper. And it is kind of a pain to have to cut it up, but it's fine. Yeah, see, there I realized that the yellow just sort of disappeared. But the Heidi Swap Color Shine does not fail me. It is still yellow when it dries, and I love it. So honestly, at this point, I kind of was thinking, oh, did I make a mistake adding all of this? But once you add the photo and the floral elements and the title, it just sort of peeks in and out here and there. And that's what I was going for. I just needed something a little bit more on the background instead of just the black cardstock. So I fussy cut some butterflies out of one of the pattern papers from the kit. It is from the Maggie Holmes Bloom collection, and the butterflies match this collection perfectly, which is why it was included in the kit. So yay, Pam, for that. So here I am deciding, I haven't done anything to my title, that chipboard. I haven't altered it yet. So I actually do that last because I kind of was undecided with how I wanted to alter it. And I do go back and forth with some of the embellishments, smaller embellishments. I did not want to add a ton more to this layout, and I don't, because I don't think it needed it. I do add a few of the stickers from the sticker sheet and some small pieces from the chipboard, 6x12 chipboard. I knew what I wanted to do was grab pretty much all the yellow flowers and all the yellow stickers, and that is what I did. I pulled all those off and stuck them to the side, just because this was a yellow layout. It was about sunflowers. Even though there are other colors on the layout, my initial thought was try to just do a yellow, like monochromatic layout, but there is green obviously and blue, and my father's shirt is blue, so I didn't think that was gonna look as good in the end. So still fiddling around with the embellishments. I'm actually gluing things down at this point. I use a couple of those potted plants, which again, because they were yellow, I had a little bit of a argument in my head about using the potted plants for the outdoor flowers, but it's just kind of a silly thing. I don't think it matters, not to me anyway. So I am gluing this down with my Scotch Quick Dry glue in my fine line bottle, and you need to use a liquid glue on a foam adhesive if you didn't already know that, because especially with a mixed media background, the double-sided tape doesn't always stick well. I am gluing the center of my butterflies down. It's just something that I have come to do without even thinking about it. I sometimes put little foam dots on the wings just to make sure they don't fold, and they will get a little flattened when I put them in my album, but for the most part, there's still some dimension to them. But I have been doing that for years, and any other way just seems strange to me. I guess it depends on the layout, but most cases I feel like the wings need to be popped up. So I am just aligning everything up, make sure I am attaching all of my embellishments in the right place, and then I do get to my chipboard title, I promise you. I knew that I wanted to color it yellow, and I tried a couple of different methods. I would have really liked to heat emboss it, but if you've not heat embossed bare chipboard, most embossing powders will not show up. They will not be their true color when you are done. You need to apply some gesso to it first, and then heat emboss it. And that was my plan. I was going to add some white gesso to give it a primer, and then I was going to color it with gelatos or mist, and then I was going to clear emboss it for that nice dimension and shine. But I ended up using some acrylic paint that I had in my stash, just some cheap acrylic paint. I started out with my pastels from Prima, oil pastels. I love using them. They're so fun and creamy to use, but they really weren't covering it well. The color was okay. It wasn't quite the match I was looking for, and it kind of started to look greenish. It looks worse on my screen now that I'm looking at it. And I mixed a couple of colors and it looked okay, but it still was not giving me the coverage that I wanted. So I end up mixing the oil pastel with white acrylic paint. And anytime you need full coverage and you need a little bit of a heavier substance, mix it with acrylic paint. You can mix it with gesso, but acrylic paint is thicker, and that worked out really well. So it was just some cheap acrylic paint, nothing special. And then once that was dry, so there I go with my white acrylic paints. Once that was dry, I went over it with my tonic crystal glaze, Nouveau crystal glaze, excuse me. If you've not used that before, it is light glossy accents, but it dries so much faster. So easy to use. The bottle is fantastic because one, it has that really pretty diamond on the top, like the Nouveau drops do, if you've seen any of those bottles. I mean, the way the bottle is packaged is just as important, right? Okay, so here I go. This tip never gets clogged, and that makes me so happy sometimes. I mean, it's the simple things, right? But it's really easy to push out of the bottle, really easy to spread around with a nozzle, and it dries so much faster than glossy accents. Don't get me wrong, I still have my glossy accents. I use them in a fine line applicator bottle for small embellishments, but for this, it makes it look like a ready-made embellishment, and I love the finished look of it. So there you go. You can see it right there in the finished shots. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you liked what you saw and maybe found some inspiration. I will be back soon with another layout. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye.